Based on the CBSE English Literature syllabus for Class 10, here are some important questions related to the book First Flight that students can expect in the CBSE 2023 exam. Question 3. The Ball poem by John Berryman is a poem about the loss of innocence. Explain the message of the poem and how the poet uses literary devices to convey it. Answer. The Ball poem by John Berryman is a poem about the loss of innocence and the consequences of growing up. The poem is a narrative that tells the story of a young boy who loses his ball and experiences the pain of losing something that he loves. The message of the poem is that growing up means accepting the inevitability of loss and learning to cope with it. The ball symbolizes the boy's innocence and childhood, and its loss represents the loss of that innocence. The boy's reaction to the loss of the ball, crying and trying to get it back, is a reflection of the pain and confusion that often accompany the loss of innocence. The poet uses a number of literary devices to convey this message. For example, the repetition of the phrase "the ball" throughout the poem emphasizes the importance of the ball to the boy and reinforces the idea that it represents his innocence. The use of the past tense in the final lines of the poem, "I am a man now," highlights the boy's transition into adulthood and his acceptance of the loss of his innocence. Another literary device used in the poem is imagery. The vivid descriptions of the ball and the boy's reaction to its loss create a sense of nostalgia for the reader, and they help to convey the idea that the loss of innocence is a universal experience that everyone goes through. The poet also uses the ball as a metaphor for life itself. Just as the boy must learn to cope with the loss of his ball, so too must we all learn to cope with the losses and disappointments that life brings. The poem suggests that this is a difficult but necessary part of growing up. In conclusion, the Ball poem by John Berryman is a powerful poem about the loss of innocence and the pain of growing up. The poet uses literary devices such as repetition, imagery, and metaphor to convey this message, and the result is a moving and poignant reflection on the universal experience of growing up.